In the previous example, we created a database and we created a table and we specified two columns for the table along with the data type. Now, in this example, we'll create a database, then we'll create a relation and we'll try to populate the database with the data. Let's start with importing SQLite 3. Then after that, establish the connection. The connection is established by using connect method, SQLite 3 dot connect, and connect to the database. What is the name of the database? That is music.db. So once after connecting to the database, call the cursor. The cursor is called by calling the method, that is cursor method, by using the connect object. The connect object is con dot cursor cursor, call the cursor. Once the cursor is called, the cursor object is created. The name of the cursor object is cur. Using this cursor object along with the execute command, we'll try to create a table, insert the records to the table, or update the values in the table, or delete the records from the table, and so on. So let's create the table by using execute command along with the cursor object. So create command is used for creating the table. So create table, the name of the table is tracks. After that, specify the attributes of the table. The first attribute is title. Specify the data type. The data type is of text type. Then followed by the next attribute name is place. The data type is integer. After that, creating a table, we'll try to insert the records to the table. Insertion of the records to the table is done by using insert command. So cur dot, once again we use execute command along with the cursor object. Now insert, fine, followed by the keyword into. Insert into where? To the table. What is the name of the table? Tracks. Fine. Within the table tracks, how many fields are there? Two columns or two fields. One is title, the second one is place. So to these columns, what we need to insert? We need to insert values. Specify the keyword values. Then that is followed by specify the value or the data. The first one is of text type. So I'll give the data as AR Rahman. Then the number of places, I'll give it as 200. Okay, the type track records of AR Rahman's has been played how many number of times? 200 times. The first record is that one. Thus, I'll try to insert one more record. CUR, execute, again insert into, fine. So which one? Again to the table tracks. What I am inserting? Values. That is followed by, I'll give it as question mark followed by the question mark. Then after that, comma, I'll try to insert the record. The first one is of text type. So I'll give it as, and the second one is the number of place. I'll give it as 150. Now you can check with these two here. This is also inserting the data or the record to the table. This is also inserting the record to the table. I have used two different formats. In the first formats, I started with the command insert, followed by the keyword into, then followed by the name of the table, that is tracks. Then as soon as I specify the name of the table, I have been specified with all the attributes of the table, that is the names of the column. The first one is the title, followed by the place, then followed by what? The keyword values. Then I'm specifying what? The actual data that has to be inserted to the record. Fine. So that is what I'm doing here. In the second one, fine, why ARM in a single quotation mark? Because the data type I have specified here is text and it is of string type. So hence I have given the single quotation mark. In the second format, same, I started with the insert command, followed by the keyword into, then the name of the table, that is tracks, followed by the values, then specified with two question marks. So these question marks, they act as a placeholder for a particular value. It is nothing but, since there are two columns, fine, and specify two question mark, where this question mark acts as a placeholder for which column now? The title column. This question mark acts as a placeholder for which column now? The place column. Then specified by what? The actual record that has to be inserted to which one? To the table, that is tracks. Fine. So these are the two different ways of using the insert command for inserting the records to the table. After that, we'll use one more command that is called as commit command along with the connection object. So the connection object is con followed by the commit method. So why this commit method? So this commit, it is used to store the inserted records permanently on the database table. Fine. So once after inserting the records, just keep commit. It is nothing but it is stored permanently on the database table. Fine. Then after that, what we'll do is, now whatever the records we have inserted, it will be inserted in the database. Your database is your backend. Fine. And we are programming here. Fine. So whatever we are inserting through this program, the data will be recorded or stored in the database, which is a backend. Now from the database, I want to retrieve the records from the table. What is the table? That is tracks. Fine. How to retrieve the records? So I'll give a print statement. So let it print telling that the tracks. Now how to retrieve the data from the table, that is the database. Now once again, retrieving the data from the database can be done by using the command that is called as select command. Even the select command has to be used along with the execute command with the cursor object. So cur dot execute. Fine. I need to use select command. So select is a command you need to use as it is. Select. Okay. How many columns are there? 2 columns. Specify the name of the column. Select title, comma, place. Fine. From which table now? From the table. The name of the table is tracks. Fine. So select title, comma, place. From which table? That is tracks table. Now how many records are there in the table now? There are 2 records. Fine. So I need to retrieve all the records one after the other. It is nothing but I need to retrieve the first row first, then the second row, then the third row, and so on. Fine. So what data I need to retrieve? I need to retrieve the title and the place data from the first record, then the second record, and so on. Since there can be more than one records, I need to once again just go on accessing row after the row. I can do it by using for loop. Fine. So for row in, fine, since the cursor object is the handler that we'll be using to point the rows of the table, for row in cur, fine, I need to print what? So print row. Fine. Then after that, what I will do, just after printing the values, I want to delete. Okay, we'll delete it later. So let's print all the values of the records. Then finally what we'll do, we'll close the cursor. So cursor dot close is the command. Again, you can also close the connection. We'll close the connection later. Fine. Now just run this. Fine. When you run this, you can see there is an error. What it is showing, the table tracks already exist, because in this example, the previous example, already we have created a table by the name that is tracks. Fine. Again, we are creating a table here. Fine. So what we'll do is, when I'm executing this program, fine, now I'll try to drop the existing table and once again create a table with the same name. So again, the dropping the table can be done by using the command that is drop what? Drop table. Fine. Table, drop table if exist which table, that is tracks. Right. So each time what we are doing is here about, it is checking if there exists a table with the name tracks, drop it. Again, the next statement what we are doing, we are creating it. Right. Now just run the program and let's see whether the table is created. Yes, you can see the table is created. and once again the records are inserted, and finally we are retrieving the record also by writing the code here by using select statement followed by the for loop. These two records are retrieved. Now we'll see whether in the database these two records are there and the table is there with the name that is tracks. So just go to the database, that is db browser SQLite. Now open the database. What is the database? That is music. Open it. You can see there is a table with the tracks. The table tracks has got how many columns? One is title, the second one is the play. It is of type text, this is of type integer. Fine. So all these things I have just coded where? By using your Python program. Then just click on to browse data. Can you see? Fine. Now using which one? Using this insert into tracks, title, place. Using this I've inserted the records to where now? To the database. So it is inserted in the database. Fine. After doing the insertion in the database, what we are doing in the program now? We are just retrieving the data from the database by using which command? The select command. So what are the values we are retrieving? The title followed by the place from the tracks. Now with the tracks table, how many columns are there? 2 columns. I'm retrieving all the data of which 2 columns? That is both the columns. So instead of specifying title comma place, if I want to retrieve all the details of the table of with respect to all the columns that is present in the table, then you can also replace that with what? A star. Star represents all. Okay. If you don't want to represent star, you can just specify the names of the column of the table, or just give star. Star represents all the columns of the table, and run the program. You'll get the same answer. Fine. Now after that, fine. So what we are doing here now, it's creating a table. Correct. Now what it is doing here, it is creating a table and the date records are inserted. So what I want to do is, after inserting the record, I'm retrieving the data from the database, and finally after retrieving the data from the database, I want to delete the records from where? From this particular table. That is what I want to do. So just we'll alter the program now. So just after retrieving the data from the table, fine. So what's next we'll do? We'll try to delete the records. Fine. Delete can be done once again by using the delete command, cur dot, again with the execute command. Use the command that is delete. Okay, delete from is the keyword. So delete from where? From the table. What is the name of the table? Tracks. Fine. So delete from the table from the tracks. Okay, I'll specify the condition. Delete from the table tracks. Fine. Which is less than 500. That is the number of plays less than 500. Only those records has to be deleted. So specify the condition. The condition is specified using once again the where command. Where, okay, which column I need to consider? I need to delete all the records where the number of plays are less than 200. So where plays are less than what? 200. Fine. So delete only those records where the plays are less than 200. Now in these two, okay, the second one is having less than 200. So this record has to be deleted from the database. Fine. But printing here, both the records has to be printed, because I'm using here what? Before deletion. Okay, I'm retrieving all the data from the database before deletion, but deleting has to be done with the condition. What is the condition? Less than 200. So in the database only this record has to exist. Fine. So after deleting, just give connect dot commit. It is nothing but whatever the operation you are doing, let it be saved permanently in the database. Fine. So just run this program. If you run this program, can you see it is retrieving both the data? But I need to check in the database whether this operation is performed. So just go back. Fine. So just again open the database. Fine. So we have tracks here, both the things, browse it. Can you see the record is deleted? So how many records are there? Only one record, the record satisfying the other condition. okay, that is less than 200, has been deleted from the database. So your database is having how many records? Only one records. Fine. So this is how we can use drop command, create command, insert command, then select command and delete command. Fine. I have explained almost how many commands here, 5 commands along with the syntax. Fine. So each time whenever you do insert operation, delete operation, update operation, always just execute the command. What is the command? Commit along with the connection object. And finally, if you want, just close the connection also. Connect dot when you can do it. Right? So this is an example where it has demonstrated how to use different types of commands: create, insert, drop, select, and delete. Fine. So let's take up one more example in the next video.